This is me, the Undead Viking, and this is Champions of Nexum. Champions of Nexum is a 2-to-6 player MOBA battle game in which two different teams of champions are going to be waging war over this area of the world and trying to take each other out and take out each other's castle. Whoever manages to do that first is going to win the game. I love the world of this one. I love the fact that they kind of gave it a weird like RPG adventure aspect to it as well, something that I haven't seen in a MOBA before. And I just had a lot of fun, and the table presence as far as like the miniatures and just how it looks is fantastic. So I'm going to show you how this one is played. We'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, this is Champions of Nexum. First of all, this is a prototype I was sent, a very high-level prototype I might add, but just keep that in mind as you're looking at the board and as I explain to you how the game is played. Now, before I actually dive into the rules and the how to play and all that stuff, I'm just going to kind of explain to you what you're looking here. As I said, this is a MOBA. I didn't know what that meant for the longest time either, but basically the idea behind a MOBA is that you have to somehow get to your opponent's castle, and the castles are located here and there. And you have to get to that castle and you have to destroy it, and then that's how you win the game. There technically are victory points in this game. You get victory points for completing quests and different other things. But all the victory points do is move you up this chart that's down here. And the farther you move up this chart, the easier it gets to win the game. If you notice here, like there's a spot that has like this little like fort here. When your icon moves up one space and every one of those spaces has one of these little fortresses, you're allowed to take one of your opponent's little fortresses, their garrisons there. I shouldn't say garrison, actually the garrisons are these guys, but you get my meaning. Basically these are the keeps, these are the towers that are protecting that area. It's important to note that as you move around the board, you can't move into somebody else's tower. You have to actually start dismantling those before you can open up those spaces for your character to move. Now obviously you can freely move through your own forts anytime you want, just to keep in mind. So as you move through these, you're eventually going to get to these garrisons. You have to then lay siege to the garrison, take that down, and then the castle that these two characters are on top of there, just to show you, is what you then have to destroy. Alright, so as you play the game, you're going to have a turn structure that's going to go around this dial here. Each one of those spots has a different sort of effect given the turns on it. For the big thing is that it's going to spawn bigger and badder monsters onto their designated spaces. At the very beginning right now, there's just these herds of giant rats. I might as well just show you one of these figures. And I'm going to show you a lot of these figures here in just a little bit. But these big giant rats, there is one here and one there. Next up are some giant crabs. I'm not going to go through and show you each one right now, but like giant crabs spawn there, and they spawn there, and it goes on and on. And so as you go through, you keep spawning those different monsters on the board. The monsters themselves are a little bit of a challenge. You have to you attack them and destroy them, but when you do that, you get rewards for doing so, and you'll end up doing that on purpose in many situations. You will also, depending on different spots on the board, you will gain different bonuses depending upon what round it is, and it's up to you to make plans to actually use those bonuses to your advantage when you can. Sometimes you'll get extra dice, like for different types of things, like whether you're laying siege or whether you're dueling another character. So you'll want to you'll plan out your turns and kind of like hedge your bets, if you will, and make sure that you do those at the right distinctions. So the big thing is that you turn the first player, you roll a die or whatever. Each person rolls a dice. And whoever gets the highest number then gets to decide, do they want to pick their champions first, or do they want to go first in the game? Now you get lots of champions, there's lots of cool minis, like here's this sniper that like you have here, like this. I didn't pick this as one of mine just to show you how the game is played. But there's lots of cool minis, so like for this team, I took like, you know, Utsbach, this shaman, and then I took Gurkhar, you know, this barbarian dude, and then and I'll explain what these are and the little words and the symbols here in just a second, just so you can see. And then here I took Akash, the wizard. here, and then Sir Lance Atentius as the other one, so you can kind of tell. Now, just so I have this guy in front of you, so you're going to have two skills. One of these is passive. That's this one. It's always available to you. So like he'll always decrease the damage he receives during a duel by 1 all the time. And then Blaze of Glory, before he does a duel, he can gain an additional attack per energy that he spends. See those little like blue little discs over there? You gain energy through lots of means, like through questing or through challenges or for defeating monsters. But then it's kind of the currency of the game, so you use it. So like he can roll extra dice if he spends it. So here we have like the number of dice that he'll roll. That's what this little sword icon is there. I thought there was like like an attack value, but no, it's the number of dice that you get in that situation. The second number here with this little like explosion on it, that is the damage stat. So if he wins in a duel, he will do 5 damage to his opponent. This is his defense against duels, and that is his maximum number of hit points that he has. While I'm talking about hit points, yes, your heroes can fall in combat, but they are not killed. They just simply go back to their home castle, and then they have to skip a turn, and then they come back fully healed. So just keep that in mind. Alright, so once you've determined who's going to take each turn, it's a pretty simple process of how the game is played. And you get a really good, I love excellent player aids, and so when they take the time to make good player aids, I do appreciate them having that. Oh, before I talk about the actions, I forgot one other thing. At the beginning of the game, each side will receive a quest card. And now these quest cards are not secret. You turn these over and everybody can see them, so you like if the blue player would turn that one over and they place it over and have it in front of them so the other player can look at it if they want. Well, let's just look at Red's player card here. So what it says here is that the quest is golems, and there's some flavor text there. Not going to worry about that. So what this says is that during this quest is if you earn a yellow gem, and you earn a yellow gem by exploring a green forest area, and you'll earn a red gem for exploring a purple jungle area, so not forest, jungle area, then you'll get a reward. And the reward is either going to be an artifact or a spell. And then you also have a side quest here where it says, gain 2 crystals of any color and perform a successful duel action in 1 round. And if you do that, then you get a reward of choose 1 character. That character will gain an artifact or a spell. That's just like a little side quest. Now, 2 things. You can do either of these things in any order. You don't have to do the top one first. You can do the second one first, whatever. If you succeed in them, you just put the crystal on top of that to designate that you did that, and then you've completed it. Also, it is very possible that like the other hero might collect like the right crystal, and like you can trade those off between each other. And this can be a game that you play like up to 6 players, and so all 3 of you will be like playing like 3 people on one side, 3 people on the other. That's a blast to play it like that. So you can trade those crystals back and forth, for different purposes. Also, you'll notice that when you do this, you're also going to get to destroy one of these little Tower 40 guys over here as well. So completing quests is this is one of the cool things I like about this game. A lot of MOBAs are just very straightforward. Hey, go smash down that person's castle and take it out. But you don't have to go that route, because there's different ways that you can process the game to actually destroy the defenses of the other player. You don't have to just rely on being smash them up, beat them up, fight them up. You can just go and do your own little quests and things like that. Now, it's a good thing that these quests, in my mind, are common knowledge, because if they're common knowledge, then I can see if you're getting close to completing it, and then I can go and I can duel you, or I can try to take you down, or I can try to prevent you from getting the crystals that you need to be able to turn this quest. You can have more than 1 quest card. You can have up to 3 at any one time. You can earn them as the game progresses. But if you ever end up with 0 quest cards, you will then draw 1 from your deck. So you'll always have at least 1 active quest at any time. Now, that being said, you might be unable to fulfill your quest. Maybe you just can't seem to get the right stuff. You can't get the right crystals to do that. Then what you can do is you can just go smash them up, beat them up, or whatever. But I'll talk all about that and more here during my final thoughts when I talk about this game. All right, so Now, on your turn. So there's two things you're going to do. Basically, this is like the classic you go, I go process. Whoever's turn it is to go first, cause if you pick your champions first, then the other person gets to go first. Then they're going to pick a champion, and they're going to take their turn with their champion. And then the other person's going to pick a champion, take their turn with that champion. And then if you have any champions left, you're going to take your turn with that champion, and so on and so forth. And so you keep going back and forth until you have it. So now you can see if you have like a team of 3 versus 3, you're going to be talking with those other players. Okay, I should go right now because I can get over here and maybe I can kill that monster over there. And then I'll be able to take them down. And, stuff like that. And so that's where like the tactics and the discussions are going to happen. And I want to, I have one other thing. Anytime you're going to be doing anything, like maybe attacking a monster or like laying siege to an area or something like that, you have to have advantage in that location. Advantage in the location is if you and if 2 people are in the same spot, neither character has advantage in that location because you're evens. But if you have your ally with you, now you're 1 up and you have advantage in that location, and you can go ahead and take, I should actually put these on the rat here, like they wanted to kill that monster. So now red could attack that monster and kill it, and then get your rewards for killing that monster. So just keep in mind, you have to have advantage to do a lot, like most of the more destructive, more combat-oriented things that you want to do. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the turns. So big thing is that you're going to choose one of 2 stances for your champion before your turn begins. You're either going to pick an adventure stance, which is one that's going to allow you to explore the world. It's going to allow you to check out the jungles. It's going to allow you also to possibly, lay siege to the castle and allow you to take those down. The other thing is that you can take an attack stance. And so if you take an attack stance, that's how you attack another player. Or you can lay siege to a garrison, which again are these 3 people. And it's very possible that your garrisons will be killed, but they can be replaced with trolls later. Just keep that in mind, because one of these steps here, like here, this step right there, is a troll step, and in which case then trolls come out and each player gets to place one on a spot where their garrison may have been. So now all of a sudden you have a troll guarding you as well. Alright, so amongst those actions also, you have your basic actions. Let me just show you this card real quick here. So you can see the basic actions. You can move up to 2 spaces. You can spend one of those resources, those energy crystals, and then go 3 spaces instead of 2. You can hunt, which allows you to roll a die to attack the creature that's in that. And then if you are able to pull that off, then you're going to get different successes if you do that. You can spend 4 energy crystals to buy a spell. And you can also, if you're in the same spot as one of your allies, you can exchange. Now, hunting is really simple. If you're just in the same spot, and once again, if you have advantage, you're going to roll a 10-sided die. Well, you want it in I should probably roll the white so you can actually see it. But, so like an 8, and you would look on the back here, and you can tell, the different monsters, and, so rats are easy to kill. You need a 2 or more. If you pass, you're going to go ahead and gain one of those crystals. And then, they're not they're called crystals, but they're little discs in my game. So just keep that in mind. And then, so if you gain that, then you just gain something. If you fail, you're going to lose a health. So crabs are a little bit tougher, and then you would gain a crystal of the color indicating the space where you perform the hunt. So cool thing. So as you go up the ladder, you're going to get better and better rewards. The hellbirds give you spells. The wilders are going to give you artifacts. Manticores, you can move your opponent to any available location for him. It's bad writing here, but you get the impression. Trolls, are tougher to siege than your normal siege things. Behemoths, if you do that, you get to destroy a tower. And then you go ahead and you can gain a spell or an artifact. And then the big giant dragon, you gain 2 of those towers. Basically those are moving up on that track. Remember I told you about the experience track that's down there on the bottom? So then you gain 2 of those, and then every team member is going to gain 1 spell or one artifact for doing so. Since I mentioned artifact 18 times and also spells, let me just show you artifacts. Artifacts are these cards over here. Artifacts are just items that you can equip your champions with. So here's the Majestic Troll Club. It gives you a bonus. And then, it's discard this card if you are forced to lose a turn and you do not lose a turn. And the card cannot be stolen. So it's just there are little things that you can outfit. If you don't like any of the 3 that are available, you can draw the top card off the top. And obviously, if one of these is taken, you immediately replace it with the card off the top, and you're able to equip those. Those cannot be traded though between the different heroes, the different champions. So just remind yourself of that. Like, make sure that you are equipping them with the stuff that you think would be good for them. You don't want to give them stuff that doesn't really fit the process or the personality or like the abilities of that particular champion. All right, so that is hunting those creatures. So then, so if you're in a jungle and you want to explore those areas, exploring, there's these 2 different types of areas. You can see that these are like, they have these little footsteps around them, and these are the jungle areas. They have little leaves around them. So if you are in a spot like that and you explore a jungle area, you're going to draw a jungle card, which is over here. And I'll talk about spell cards here. I know I'm jumping around. I apologize, but I'll talk about spell cards here in just a moment. So, so these jungle cards are little tiny quests here. So it says the Bronze World and some flavor text down there, and then you roll a die, and it says on a 1 through 5, you gain a crystal. Probably something you need. An ally character chosen by the enemy team loses 2 of the energy, 2 of the crystals or those discs that are over there. Then if you gain 6 through 8, you gain a crystal, and then a 9 or more, you gain a crystal and choose an enemy character, and that character loses 2 of those. So rolling higher is better. These things are almost always like, something, little tests that, the higher you roll, the better off you're going to be. Now, if you're in these locations and you do an Explorer, you're going to draw one of these cards, and these are always going to have a couple of different options for you, and then each one is going to, depending upon what you're doing, it'll be, like good or bad, or like it'll fit your situation better. So they're always going to be something you're going to get something for it. So this one's called Slivovitz. I don't know what that means, but you lose 3 health, but you gain a spell in this situation, or you can gain a resource, gain a crystal, or you may move up to 2 spaces. So, like, oh, I really want a spell, and I've got some health to burn. Okay, fine, I'm going to do that instead. Now, that actually segues pretty well into spells. So, spells, as you can probably guess, are just going to be different ways that you're going to break the rules, if you will. So, here we have, and remember, like, almost everything in this game is like this or this. And I love that about it, the variability, and also just, like, the options. It isn't just like, oh, this card is this, and you're like, oh, this sucks. I'm never going to be able to use this card. Because the cards have 2 different possibilities, it really adds to like just, oh, okay, I'm going to use this. I'm going to actually burn through this. So here we go, Renaissance Man, and it says cast during your turn, gain +1 to all your die rolls, and then keep this card for reference, or cast during your turn and then gain 1 random artifact. Well, how cool is that? So like, both of them are pretty good, but you're going to decide how you're going to use those. And remember, anytime during your turn, if you have 4 of these tokens, if you earn 4 of those and you want to buy a spell, you can just do that. You can just buy a spell. Alright, so the last 2 things I'm going to talk about, well, actually, there's 3 things. So first I'm going to talk about sieging. If you manage to knock out the towers and you can lay siege to one of those locations, sieging it is just, you're going to, and if you have an ally with you, they will be able to assist you. Depending upon what you have, you might have artifacts that will change different things. But as you can see here on the bottom, on the way bottom of your, and once again, player aids are awesome. I love these. So siege, you have to have advantage. Remember, difficulty is 6. Every ally in your equation adds 1 to your test roll, and then spend 3 to re-roll a failed test die once you do your test roll. And if you succeed, garrison destroyed. If you fail, you take 5 damage. So like this is, so you need a 6 or better. If you have a troll there, they take a 7. So maybe I have that, so I've got to get, since I need a 6, I need a 5, because I got my buddy there. So let's see what I get. I got a 0, which is a 10, so I would then destroy that. Boom, it's gone. Now, next turn, I can get in there, and I can hopefully lay claim to victory. So let's just do that. So let's show you victory. So, victory is weird. Victory depends a lot upon where you are on this particular track. If it's early on, you're going to have to get a 15 or more. And you can actually, for every person that's in that spot, you're allowed to roll an extra die. So if I had those two people there, I get to roll 2 dice. But as you go up the track, here Victory takes a 10 or more, here Victory takes a 5 or more. So if we're all the way at the top, you know, and I basically destroyed most of his stuff, now I'm in a situation where if I wanted to claim victory, I'd roll a die. As long as I rolled a 1, that didn't do any good. But so if I fail, you take 5 damage for failing. But let's just, you know, if you say I roll 9, boom, I've destroyed your castle. I've taken it out. And that's how you actually win the game. Now, backtracking just a hair, I'll talk one last thing, and this is about dueling. So if you are dueling and you and another character are in the same spot, you activate your action, and now you're going to duel that character. What happens is that you are going to, each person is going to take the dice equaling their stats. So if my barbarian is attacking this knight, we're going to look at the barbarian's attack value. My barbarian's attack value is a 4, so he's going to get 4 attack dice. If I had an ally with me, I would be able to roll an extra attack die, but I don't have an attack die. And then our hero, the knight here, gets 3 defense dice. So Gurkhar, the barbarian, is going to go first, and he's going to take his 4 dice. We're going to go ahead and roll those. Now, there's multiple different like things on the sides of these. The X is bad. That means you get absolutely nothing. This means that you're going to get an energy token regardless to anything, like, you know, when the battle's over. This means 2 successes. That means 1 success, and this means you get extra damage above your damage stat that you have. So let's take his 4 dice here, and let's see what we get. So I got 3 damage and 1 success. Now I'm going to get a chance to reroll, but we're going to wait and see what our opponent rolls. So now Sir Lance Atensius gets to roll these 3 dice. Let's see what he gets. He's going to get 2 X's and an energy. Now this is a very interesting situation because for every energy token that I spend, I'm able to reroll 1 of my dice. But right now I'm winning because I only have to have more or have equal to the number of successes that my opponent has, and right now he has 0. Most likely, my opponent's going to spend, because he's going to have the option to spend. The defender has like the defender's advantage. They get to react to what the attacker decides. So now I'm in a situation where I'm doing a ton of damage to him, which is pretty good too, because remember, Sir Lance has that -1 damage to any attacks that he succeeds at. So, but what I want to do is, I think I want to re-roll like 2 of these dice. I'm going to keep the 1 extra damage, and I'm going to go ahead and roll these 2 extra dice and see what we get here. All right, so I kept the damage, and I got another success. So now, as the defender, what I'm going to be like, well, I got to roll all 3. So I like, and this is if you have the resource tokens, if you have the resource crystals to do this. Let's see what we get here. So I'm going to roll. And I'm going to just say that's a blank, even though it was maybe on the side. So now in this situation, I've got 2, he's got 2. He's going to win. And so, and he's going to do 2 extra damage. And so what's going to happen is that my damage is 5, which is put up to 7, but he's got the -1, so he's going to take 6 points of damage. So what we're going to end up doing is we're going to take one of these red 5 hearts and one of these red 1 hearts, and we're going to go ahead and put that on there to show that I've taken that damage. Now there's places on the board where you can heal. There's like spells and things. So there's also a tavern in the middle that you can go to, and you can heal up if you want to. But so now they've done damage. Now as a bonus, Gurkhar can take 1 resource if they have it from their and also 1 crystal if they have those as well, and they can go ahead and claim those and take them as a prize. Now remember, if that damage had actually taken out this character, they would have gone back to their home castle. They'd have to miss a turn, and then they would be able to come back at full health. They don't just die and they're out of the game. And also, if whoever wins the battle, like if they did roll any of these results, the ones that show those crystals, they are able to take those and claim them, those resources, and keep them at the end of the battle. But not if you rolled them as a loser. If you got those as a loser, and the defender can win. The defender can win if they get more successes. They can do damage, and they can also claim those things. But you have to win to be able to do those things. All right, so that is Champions of Nexum. I mean, I've played mobile games before, and I don't mind big giant buckets of dice being rolled all the time. But the thing that really stood out for me for this was the feeling of adventure, the feeling of exploring, the feeling of moving out and about, and having all different ways of winning the game. Yes, you still have to lay siege to the castle at the end, but to get to the castle, there's so many different ways that you can possibly do that, and I really, really like that about the game. But I'll talk more about that with my final thoughts. Oh, jeez. There you go. Champions of Nexum. Nexum? Yeah. All right. So this game was in development for a while. I remember being contacted about it a while ago, actually, about the game being created, and I'm really pleased with what they've done with this one. As I stated in my introduction there, one of the things about it is that it isn't just smash them up, roll a bunch of dice. Here's my bucket full of dice. There's your bucket full of dice, which I don't mind bucket full of dice games. Don't get me wrong. If you watch my channel, you know I like those. But it was a nice change. It was a nice alternative from what I've been used to seeing when it comes to this type of experience. I enjoyed the fact that, like I said, it's like you don't have to just go ahead and just start smashing things apart. You can take the adventure route. You can go and try to track stuff down. You can gain those crystals, and also because of the fact that, as I said, that those quests are present and accounted for, you can look at them and you can say, oh, they're getting close to completing that one, or oh, they're getting close to completing that one. I need to go ahead and stop them from doing that. One of the cool things about it that you don't realize until you actually play the game is that each champion goes out and collects the rewards on their own, and that's why you have that trading aspect, and that's why certain things can't be traded. You can trade those colored crystals as you gain them, which are what you use to complete quests, but as I said, things like artifacts or the resource tokens, you don't get to trade those, and so you can't just have one person like waiting in the back and like, yes, bring me the pretties. They have to be getting out there and doing it themselves, or else they're going to be kind of a weaker character. They're not going to collect those artifacts. They're not going to be able to improve themselves. So it isn't you can't, I mean, there is some strategy involved to like making sure maybe one's back on defense to like duel other players as they're rolling about, or just mucking things up by being in the same spot as somebody else and taking away their advantage from being wanting to perform a task at a certain spot. So there's a lot of ins and outs, a lot of different strategies and tactics that you can use that I liked a lot as I played the game, and they kind of developed in my mind, developed as the game went on, and trying to outthink my opponents was a lot of fun. I played this two-player a lot with my daughter. We had a blast with it. She is a big fan of video games, and she likes stuff like this, and she really liked the miniatures as well. But it was one of those, and I didn't show you all the miniatures. I do apologize for that. I kind of ran out of time. I wanted to make this video a little bit more succinct, but please go check out the Kickstarter page. You can see just how amazing they are. I mean, those are like not even the finished miniatures. I mean, those are like the 3D model ones, which never are as good as the actual minis that come out. So just keep that in mind. They've really gone over the top with these molds. But as I said, my daughter and I, we played it. We had a lot of fun with it, and then I took this to game nights at my local game store, and we had an absolute blast with it. And like the 6-player game obviously takes a little bit longer. The 2-player game does wrap up pretty quickly because it's just just you and another person making a choice. And I think maybe that's where this game shines a little bit. But the 6-player game, as far as like the whole chaos of it, of each person being able to do their own thing and like just running around and like having those discussions, trying to figure out what the best way to do it, and like being able to be part of a team, there's something to be said about that, and that's a lot of fun as well. And obviously you can play it with 4 players, and there's a lot of ways you can muck with it as well. I mean, I could see like playing a 5-player game and like just having the same number of champions, or maybe you put somebody at disadvantage if like you're playing against your kids, and like, okay, you guys get 3 and I'll just take 2, that kind of thing. So just keep that in mind, and you can have a lot of fun with it as far as that's concerned. Now, like the other thing I wanted to make sure that I mentioned about it was that I really think they did a really good job of world building with this. Now, I don't have a finalized rule book, and I sincerely hope that when the game is published, we're going to get to know more about this world that the Nexum people are I want to know more about this world of Nexum, and I hope that down the line, when they create more games in this world, we'll be able to learn more about it, because I think they've done a really good job of making a fantastic fantasy world that I think you can really immerse yourself in. So there you go. If you like this type of game and you're looking for something a little bit different, like I said, I haven't really experienced a mobile game where like you don't have to be always smashy. You can be all searchity instead. Go ahead and check this out. It's very challenging. It's very fun, and like as far as like a 2-player game, I think if you're looking for one to put on your shelf, you're gonna really like this one a lot. All right, so there you go. This is the Undead Viking telling you out there in that world to just go out and have the most absolute fun time of your entire life. Be the person people want to be around. Put the love and the positivity out into the universe. I guarantee you, the more you shove out there, the more love and positivity is going to come back to you. But until next time, this is me telling you, be awesome and be the best version of you that you possibly can be. Adios.